Hello everyone, this is part 10 of What If Naruto Was Trained by Anko, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like and subscribe. To see more, comment down below. Now 19 Naruto was not happy. He was not happy at all. He should have stayed home and let Sasuke not get his chance at gaining Chunin. He knew that Sakura wouldn't have mind since she felt scared. However, she worked her butt off and wanted to try. He wasn't about to let her try without some backup. Still, he was still very pissed off at Sasuke's attitude and at Kakashi's favoritism. God, did he want to belt Sasuke in the face? Just one good shot. Suddenly, a hand touched his shoulder. He turned to see Hinata. She gave him a friendly smile and a worried look. "What's wrong?" Naruto asked. "I was about to ask you the same thing. You were leaking out small doses of killing intent. Are you angry at someone?" she asked him. "Yeah, my dumbass sensei and my dumber-ass teammate." "I assume that you knew about the genjutsu downstairs?" Naruto asked. "What genjutsu?" Hinata asked with confusion. "Exactly, the Nimrod revealed it to everyone just because of his ego. He's just made our team a target." Naruto explained. "So why did you come here?" Hinata asked. "To watch Sakura's back and make sure that she lives. Seeing you here is a bonus," Naruto said with a smirk. Hinata giggled and blushed a little at his flirting. Sakura and Ino thought that it was cute while Neji, who looked at him from across the room, was glaring at them. The two continued to converse when Naruto heard his name. He and Hinata turned to see a young man with ash-gray hair, glasses and a card in his hand. He was facing a red-haired boy who was wearing a gourd. On the strap was the symbol of Sunagakure, hidden sand. Uzumaki Naruto, age 13. Teammates are Uchiha Sasuke and Haruno Sakura. He has been on 7D rank mission and 1C rank mission that was bumped up to an B rank. It says here that he was in the middle of his graduating class, skilled in various arts. Very high chakra pool and very devious, the young man said to the redhead. The boy seemed to have scoffed at the info and was making his way back to his teammates. "So I wasn't getting paranoid. You must have been the guy that was hanging upside down from that tree that myself, my teammate and my friends were standing under. That's a pretty good skill you got there. That's almost Jonin level stealth," Naruto said to the redhead. The boy stopped and looked at Naruto with some very dangerous looking green eyes. Hinata stood behind Naruto, a little afraid at what she was feeling coming off the guy. The two would stare at each other for a while before the redhead spoke. "I am not as naive or gullible as my brother. Such cheap tactics and trickery will not work against me," he said. "Well, you never know for sure. It did work on your brother and those three over there," Naruto said while pointing at the Oto sound shinobi. "How about you tell me your name since you were asking about me?" Naruto said. "Sabaku no Gaara," the redhead said before breaking eye contact and made his way back to his teammates. Sakura came over with Kiba, Shino and Shikamaru. "That guy gave me the chills. What does he want with you?" Sakura asked. "You got me, but it looks like that he doesn't care about me anymore. We can relax a little," Naruto said. "Wherever you go, you always bring trouble with you," Shikamaru said with a sigh. That's when the front of the room was engulfed in smoke. When it cleared, several men were standing in the background while one man was standing right out in front. He was wearing the same thing as the others, only he was wearing a black jacket. "Enough of your gabbing. The first stage of the Chunin Senbatsu Shiken, Chunin selection exam, is about to begin," the man shouted. Kakashi entered the Jonin lounge with his book in his hand. He looked up to see his fellow Jonin and waved to them. He then took a seat across from Asuma and Kurenai. He ignored the dose of killing intent that Kurenai was giving him because of the book he was reading. "So, how do you think that your teams will do?" Kakashi asked. "They should do well. Shikamaru is smart and resourceful. I trust him to keep the team in line," Asuma said. "I'm not too worried myself. Kiba, Hinata and Shino work very well together. I am especially happy about Hinata because she no longer holds herself back. I must thank Naruto for helping her out of her shell. I wonder if I can teach him something, considering that things are not resolved with his team. Kurenai pointed out. That comment made Kakashi look up from his book. Asuma just sighed but had a small grin on his face. I do not know what you have heard, Kurenai, but there are no problems with my team. Kakashi said. So you did solve the issues among them? I am sorry about that. I only assumed things because of what Hinata told me. Apparently, Naruto has created flyers to post around the academy about your teaching habits. He really doesn't think your team will stick together and wishes to warn future Genin about you. However, since you solved all issues, I guess it's a good thing that Hinata stopped him from doing that. My mistake, Kurenai said and turned to her fingers, finding them interesting. A few of the Jonin chuckled at the teasing, but Kakashi was not amused. He turned back to his book, but he did not enjoy it. Everyone looked at the large man who had just spoken. Naruto got a better look at the guy and had a small smirk on his face. Hey Scarface, I didn't know that you were running these exams, Naruto shouted. The man called Scarface turned to Naruto and snarled. So it's you. This is a good sign for me. Now, I don't have to face your sister's wrath after I break you into pieces. He said to him, I'd like to see you try, old man. Greater men have tried and failed. You ain't any different. Naruto boasted. We'll see, he said. He turned his attention back to the room. My name is Marino Ibiki and I am the examiner of the first stage. Everyone has 60 seconds to get to your assigned seats. Everyone looked at him like he was crazy. Naruto quickly made his way to his seat. Did you not hear me? Get to your seats now or be disqualified. Everyone began a mad dash to their seats. Naruto found his seat and waited. Joining him was a random Genin and Hinata. They said their hellos and waited for Ibiki to start the test. Once everyone was in their seat, Ibiki looked at them. There are certain rules that you will abide by while you are in this room. I will answer no question, Ibiki said. But, Sakura began. I said no questions, he shouted. Sakura bulked and shut her mouth. The first phase of the test will be a written test. Naruto bulked at that, which made Ibiki smile. There are 10 questions on the exam, which mean that you have 10 points to get. If you are caught cheating, you will lose a point. If your teammates get caught cheating, you will lose 2 points. If you get caught a total of 5 times, you and your team are disqualified. Ibiki explained. That's not fair, someone shouted. Tough, you all have had the unfortunate pleasure of me being the examiner. These will not some simple test that you can pass. My word is law and I am Kami in this room, Ibiki said with some oppressive chakra that made everyone flinch. You all will have 45 minutes to answer the 9 questions on the sheet. After that, you all will be given the 10th question. You may begin your test, now. With that, everyone began to look at the test. Naruto looked at the questions and silently growled. He was never that good of a test taker. He was a man of action. He did enough to pass the exams so that he would not be labeled the dead last. These questions, however, were impossible. These were some pretty hard questions and there was no way that he could answer them. He then saw several teams get caught cheating. That was pretty quick in his mind. He was frustrated until he turned to see Hinata. He was a little confused as she had her Byakugan activated. Didn't she know that she would get caught if she was seen? It was pretty easy to see that she was cheating. Yet, not of the examiners were doing anything about it. Was this the point of the exam? He carefully looked around the room and saw that everyone he knew was cheating. Kiba was using his dog, Shino was using his bugs very discreetly and Ino was slumped over, which meant that she had used her clan's jutsu. So that was the point of the test, to cheat and to cheat well. Well, if they wanted him to cheat, he was going to do a great job of doing it. He had a foxy grin as a plan formulated in head. When he had something, he decided to put it into action. Hey sensei, can you come over here for a second? Naruto asked. The guy walked over to him and gave him his attention. What is it, kid? He asked. Punch in the nuts, Naruto exclaimed. A quick jab in the nuts sent the man to the ground in the fetal position. Everyone looked at the move with shock and awe. Ibiki looked at Naruto with rage. What the hell are you thinking, Uzumaki? Ibiki roared. Bitch was looking at me funny. Naruto answered with a tone. Ibiki came at him and lifted him by his throat. Anko should have taught you better. You don't mess with me, punk. Ibiki snarled. You don't scare me, Naruto said with a grin. Ibiki just growled and threw Naruto back down into his seat. He made his way back to the front of the room. Naruto still had that grin on his face, which confused everyone. Naruto suddenly took his paper and erased something. He then wrote his name and sat back with his feet on the table. Ibiki looked at him with confusion. He continued to look at him until he realized what he did. That whole incident was a diversion. He managed to steal someone's test. But whose and how? Ibiki wondered. He looked around the room but did not see anything wrong. Taicho, may I be excused? Asked one of the examiners. Ibiki looked and saw a female Chunin who was dressed in very tight clothing. It highlighted her curves and caught the attention of everyone in the room. Yeah, get the hell out of here, Ibiki said. She smiled and walked away with a sway in her hips that caught every male's attention and every female's ire. She left and the test continued. Ibiki was still trying to figure out what that brat did. However, the time was up and he had to continue the test. All right, pencils down. It is time for the 10th question. Before this question is asked, I must tell you all about one more rule. If you do not answer this question correctly, no matter if you answered each question right, you and your teammates will fail and you will remain a genin for the rest of your life. Ibiki said. What? You don't have the authority to do something like that, Kiba shouted. What did I say before, kid? You got a bad hand when I was chosen for the first stage. It's my rules and my world. You don't like, then quit, Ibiki said. Everyone looked very nervous at the rules that Ibiki laid on the line. One by one, several people stood up and submitted. They were too scared to take the question and they did not want their teammates to suffer. Sakura looked scared as well and she was about to raise her hand as well. That's when she was hit by something. It was a piece of paper. She opened it and began to read it. Hey, I'm with you if you want to quit, but I think it would be a shame that you let this guy scare you. You're much stronger than this and I believe in you. You can do this and I have your back. The note said. Sakura looked in the direction that she was hit and saw Naruto. He gave her a grin and she felt at ease by it. She took a deep breath and relaxed. Ibiki saw this and just smirked at the group. He waited a few more minutes before speaking again. Are the rest of you sure about this? Ibiki asked the group. The remaining teams looked at him with unwavering gazes. He them smiled and looked at the group. Congratulations, you have all just passed the first stage. Everyone looked at the man with wide eyes. Chapter 20. Everyone looked at the older man with wide eyes. Naruto was the only one who did not look at him with shock as he has been through the mind games of Marino Ibiki. What the hell are you talking about? What about the 10th question? Kiba demanded. There is no 10th question. I lied, Ibiki said. A lot of people began to shout and rant about what this man put him through. After a while, he got fed up with it and unleashed his killing intent. That shut everybody up and made a couple of them gulp. Ibiki calmed himself and looked at each of them seriously. Does anyone know what the point of this exam was? You not only tested our ability to cheat but to see if we had the balls to cheat. Naruto answered. Close enough. Did you really believe that I and my fellow ninja did not notice the cheating? We wanted to see if you could get the information well enough to escape our notice. Also, we wanted to see if you could manipulate the point system that I placed up. Yes, we may have caught you but we had no reason to kick you out if you stayed within the point limit. Ibiki explained. And the 10th question? Asked the Suna Kunoichi. It was to see if you had it within you to take it. Ibiki said and removed his bandana. Everyone was shocked at the wounds that they saw. Burn marks, punctures from where screws were used and long slash marks decorated his head and some wondered how he survived such a thing. These are the scars that I received when I refused to give up information to my enemies. That's what it means to be a Chunin. To risk everything for your village and knowing that you're going to die. Ibiki put on back his bandana and faced the group. He was about to say more when something crashed through the window. Some of the genin prepared themselves for an attack when the projectile unraveled to reveal Anko. She stood proudly in front of the banner that said, "Sexy and single proctor of the second stage, Mitarashi Anko, heads up boys and girls, this is no time to be celebrating. I will be your next proctor, Mitarashi Anko. Are you ready for the second test? Good, so let's go," Anko said with her arm raised. Everyone looked at the woman like she was insane. Naruto held up a card for her to see, which got her attention. "Oh, that's bullshit. The entrance alone is worth a 9. The entrance was an 8 at best. If you had used the smoke bombs and flash bombs like I said, then it would be a 10. Naruto said to her. "What do you know about style? You think orange is a ninja color?" Anko mocked. "Hey, listen bitch," Naruto began but was cut off by Ibiki. "If you two are done playing around, can you get to the second test?" Ibiki said. Anko looked around the room and was surprised by how many people were in the room. She counted and was even more shocked. This can't be right. There's 78 Genin left. That's 26 teams. Are you telling me that the great and fearful mind bender, Marino Ibiki, couldn't reduce the playing field? Anko mocked. Ibiki glared at her. There are some outstanding examiners this year. Also, you punk-ass project kind of screwed up my aura around the place. You should warn him about who he talks to. It will get him killed. Ibiki said. No worries about that. When I'm done with them the herd will be cut in half. Anko said with a grin. Everyone kind of froze when she licked her lips. I'm getting excited. This should be fun. As fun as you stalking Iruka and trying to rape him? Naruto asked with a fake innocence. Anko glared at him for that comment. Naruto suddenly found himself in a headlock. Okay guys, follow me and I'll explain the next test. And you need to keep your mouth shut about my personal life. Anko growled and she tightens her grip around Naruto's neck. Everyone just watched the two with awe as they followed Anko to the next stage. Free of Anko, Naruto walked with Sakura and Sasuke to the next stage. As they walked, Shikamaru came up beside him. Naruto greeted him and asked him what he wanted. Nothing really, I just came to congratulate you on your ploy to get the answers. It was a little classless but it got the job done. Shikamaru said with a bored tone. Naruto grinned as his teammates looked at him with confusion. So you noticed that, huh? Well, I can't help my genius. Naruto boasted. What are you two talking about? Naruto was sweating like pig during the test. He couldn't answer those questions. Sakura said. He stole them. The guy he hit in the nuts was a distraction while his Hengard clone stole someone's paper. Shikamaru explained. Clone? What clone? Sakura asked. Back in the academy, Ibiki was racking his brain as to how that blonde brat cheated. That little stunt was a distraction, he knew that it was. The test he checked was filled with the right answers, so this had to be from one of the guys that he planted in the room. Ibiki was getting frustrated at the fact that he had been outsmarted. Hey Ibiki, are you okay? Asked one of the proctors. No, I am not. Ibiki said and faced the group. That's when he noticed that someone was missing. Hey, where is that blonde-haired woman? What blonde-haired woman? The man said. The woman who caught the eyes of you all and many of the males. Ibiki said with a growl. Oh her, the man said with a funny grin. He quickly wiped it off as Ibiki glared at him. Well, I don't know where she is. I don't even know why she was there. She wasn't a part the group that was instructors. Truth be told, I don't even know who she is. Trust me, she would be very memorable. He said. Ibiki looked at him like he was crazy and was very concerned about a spy in the village. That's when he remembered Naruto's little, stupid, jutsu. Going deep in his mind, he recalled the face of the woman. He remembered a beautiful face with 3 whisker marks on each side of her face. Son of a bitch, Ibiki exclaimed. Back with the group of Genin, Naruto had a huge grin on his face. Anko had to pause as she was laughing so hard. She couldn't believe that Ibiki fell for that stupid jutsu of her little brother. She could only image the rage on Ibiki's face as he was fooled by a Genin. Naruto mentally patted himself on the back until he felt a decent amount of killing intent that was directed toward him. He turned and gulped as he saw the rage on Sakura's face. And now Sakura, let's calm down and talk about this. Naruto said nervously. Sakura wasn't listening and charged at Naruto. Anko just chuckled as the pink-haired teammate of Naruto beat the living hell out of him. She just enjoyed the show just for a little while. Naruto groaned and sat up. He rubbed his head and cracked his neck to work out the stiffness. He stood and faced Anko, who had just finished her food. She saw Naruto stand up and smirked. "Ah, Sleeping Beauty has finally awakened." Anko joked. "You could have stopped her, you know. Sakura punches are like iron weights." Naruto complained. "I've told you before that your Oiroke no Jutsu, sexy technique, is going to get you killed. While I have no issue with it, the female population views it as offensive. If you're going to ignore that, then you have to face the consequence. Besides, it could have been much worse if she added a bit more hip movement in her punches." Anko said. Naruto gave her a WTF look as Sakura began to think about what Anko said. The Takubetsu Jonin ignored him and faced the group. "Alright, listen up because I'm only going to explain this once. Behind me is Daionjuon in Shujo, 44th Training Ground, also known as Shi no Mori, Forest of Death. The radius of the forest is 10 kilometers with a tower in the middle. Your objective is to arrive at that tower with both of these scrolls." Anko pulled out 2 scrolls, one with the symbol Heaven and one with the symbol Earth. Each team will be given one of these scrolls and you will be let loose in the forest. Anko said. "So, we'll be fighting in the forest?" asked Kiba. "Well, I figured that was self-explanatory considering I just said you had to get to the tower with both scrolls. As a Chunin, you will have to keep and get information in hostile territory. You will have to fight, sometimes to the death, to keep it. Before I go into it more, my friends here," pointing to the group of Chunin, "will be giving you a form. It is a release form as there will be killing in this exam. I'd rather not be responsible when you die and your village comes bitchin'," Anko said. "Way to show concern, Oni-san." Naruto joked. Anko just shrugged and continued to speak. "Anyway, the exam lasts for 5 days, what about food?" Choji exclaimed. Anko narrowed her eyes at him, making the chubby Genin hide behind Ino. "There are a lot of things in the forest that you can hunt and eat. Beware though, because there are things inside the forest that like to eat plump little kids like you," Anko said with a grin, making Choji shiver more. "Well, that's the second stage in a nutshell. I do have one bit of advice for everyone." "What is it?" Naruto asked. "Don't die," Anko exclaimed. She watched as everyone signed their forms and gave them back to the Chunin. Looking around to see that everyone was busy, she quickly moved to grab Naruto. She took him away from the group and brought him somewhere private. Naruto was a little confused about why Anko looked so nervous. "Sorry brat, I still a representative to protect. Anyway, I wanted to wish you luck and tell you to be careful in the forest. It isn't the place to be showboating," Anko said. "Hey, I might be awesome but I know when to be serious." "I'll be okay," Naruto said. Anko smiled at him and then embraced him in a hug. While surprised, Naruto returned the hug and told her that everything would be okay. Anko let him go and he ran back to his team. Anko looked at him with a smile and made her way back to overlook the Genin. Unknown to her and Naruto, a sinister presence saw the whole scene. It amused him and bad plans began to form within their head. Naruto was pinching the bridge of his nose. He just couldn't understand why he was placed on this team with Sasuke. It was just too frustrating to deal with him. "So that's the plan, we're just going to walk around the forest until we find someone and attack them. Wow, those are some really great lessons Kakashi has been teaching you," Naruto said. "You got a better idea?" Sasuke demanded. "Yes, I do. We find a place and make a base camp. After we situate the camp, then we can go and search for a scroll. With the base camp, we have a place to return to rest and plan," Naruto said. "That isn't a bad idea. We should do that and you probably know a spot we can use, right Naruto?" Sakura asked. "Look, we need to finish the exam quickly and easily. We don't have time to be making camps and coming up with plans. We are doing it my way and that's that," Sasuke said. "Listen asshole, this is a team, which means that this is a team decision. Running around aimlessly, finding someone with a different scroll than ours is a waste of time and energy. If you want to do this plan of yours, then you are giving up the scroll because I'll be damned if you lose our scroll because you got in over in your head, Naruto said loudly and held out his hand. Sasuke glared at Naruto, who did not look scared of him. That's when Sakura stepped in. Sasuke, I agree with Naruto. I think that we should do his plan since he might know a safe area in the forest. I'm sorry, but I can agree with your plan, Sakura said with regret. Sasuke looked at the two with defiance. He scoffed at the two and pocketed the scroll. Just lead us to a safe area so we can get our scroll as soon as possible, Sasuke stated with anger. Naruto sucked his teeth at him and nodded at Sakura, who nodded back. After a few minutes, a Chunin opened their gate. All three Genin dashed into the forest as the second stage of the Chunin exams began. That will be it for this video. If you want more, comment down below, like, subscribe, and see you guys later.